We shall be talking on Rabindranath Tagore's The Post Office or Tagore, which was the original Bengali name. The play was written by Tagore in 1912. To understand the meaning of the post office or Tagore, we have to look backward and remember the condition of the world and naturally of India in the early decades of the 20th century. The post office at that time was a very important place for all men. The post office was a transit place for information, a transit place for letters, as letters would be posted and the same letters would go to various places far and near. And in a similar way, letters or information in the form of letters would come from various other places, near or distant, to this place or to any other post office. And then the letters would be delivered to the respective people to whom the letters are addressed by the postman. So that was precisely the means of information to be given and to be sent. Keeping this meaning in mind, we may proceed to analyze Tagore's The Post Office, which became very popular immediately after its publication, not only as a book to be read, but also as a play to be staged. The Post Office was staged in 1913 in London, and there among the audience was one man, a poet, who loved the poetry of Tagore very much, the poet W.B. Yeats. W.B. Yeats. Yeats said that he liked the play because of its natural simplicity. We do not know what Yeats exactly meant by this natural simplicity. Did he mean the natural dialogues? Or did he mean the apparently easy storyline of the play? Because this play actually, the post office actually is a play with intricate and symbolic meanings. There are different layers of meaning, perhaps. And very often, by critiques, it is described as a symbolic play, like many such plays by Tagore himself. The post office itself is a symbol of information. Men crave for information. They long to know news of other men, of other places, of other continents. But what is information? In the ultimate analysis, what is the essence of all the information that we want to dispatch to others or that we receive? What is the ultimate truth of life? What happens to the central character of the play, of the post office, that is the little boy Amol? All these questions are there, which are solved or partially solved or remain unsolved. It is said that the play, the post office, has an hourglass structure. Now let us try to explore the meaning of the hourglass structure. What is the structure of an hourglass? It looks as if the two glasses are connected with one another. One is an open glass. The mouth of the glass is as if facing the sky, and the other is drooping downward. The mouth of the glass is facing the ground. So from the ground it rises up and as if looks towards the sky. So we may say that the play, as if such a play as if would begin as a play with broad scale of events and information, and gradually as we progress the broadness is narrowed and narrowed more, and finally it as if becomes a teeny point. But then from the teeny point itself, it once again begins to broaden more, and finally it's the structure of the mouth of the glass again. So broadness, and then contraction, and then smallness, and then broadening again and again and again till it broadens to its ultimate limit. So what happens in the post office? Well, we find a man, Madhav, he has adopted a child, and the child is perpetually ailing. And Madhav Datta is Now, both and worried man, a worried man and a happy man. A worried man because Amal, whom Madhav looks upon as his own son, is ill, seriously ill. Will he come round? Will he get well? The doctors are coming, medicines are being applied, but the child is ailing. But on the other hand, the house of Madhav Datta, which was like a lonely desert for lack of the voices of children, is now throbbing with activities. So, two things are there, worry and happiness. Or, in other words, a fear, a fear of impending death, and happiness because of the child. In this pattern, the play begins and the play proceeds. Now we find that the play has two acts. It is a two-act play. In the first act, Amol sits on a bed near a window, and all his contacts with the world outside is the window. He can see roads, he can see distant horizons, he can see men passing by, different men of different vocations, and he calls them, and many of them respond, and conversations continue with the little boy and the passerby. In the second act, all the activities happen inside the room. Men come, men go, and Amol is there till the end. But what happens in the end, we do not know. Does he die? It is not clear, and we can say that the play is an open-ended play. It may be that Amol has expired. It may be that Amol is still living, he is sleeping. The king's physician has come, the king's herald has come, and possibly the king will come, and Amol will be cured. And Amol will get round. Amol will be free from all diseases. But there again, there is a dilemma. What does that freedom mean? Freedom from all pains of life? What does it mean? Does it mean death? Because only in death man can have this desired freedom. But nothing is clear. Throughout the play, we find that Amol is a little boy, and this little boy is so eager to have freedom. And Amol's first dialogue with his uncle Madhav, can I go over there? Can't I go over there where the little squirrel is working, where the little squirrel is playing? Can I not go over there even? Well, the painful entreaty of a little boy. But Madhav cannot allow him to go over there because the doctors have forbidden that. So the doctors have said that Amol cannot come out into the open. But Amol wants to come into the open. Amol wants to have a physical contact with the open world. Perhaps he wants to touch, he wants to smell, he wants to see. He wants to enjoy the world around with all his senses. And he wants to satisfy his mind, his consciousness, his little desires are to be fulfilled. What are the little desires? The little desires of life. The Amol wanted to become a card sailor. And the card seller says, my dear son, why should you be a card seller? You'll be a great man. Amol wanted to marry the granddaughter of the card sailor. So these little desires. Amol converses with a god, the man who keeps time. Then at one point, Amol asks him, why didn't you ring your gong? When will the gong come? The god says, well, it's not time. So, the concept of time, the notion of time, perhaps the most intricate one, is introduced in a delicate way by Tagore in this play. And Amol mutters, well, I don't understand. Some people say time is quickly moving, passing away. Some other people say time is yet to come. What is this time? This is a very delicate philosophical question. What is time? Because the concept of time is associated with the concept of life, the concept of existence, and also the concept of death. Shudha is a little girl, but the meaning of Shudha is very significant. Shudha is a Sanskrit word which means nectar. Nectar. In the ancient Hindu epic, we get the story of nectar coming out of the depth of the ocean. Not only nectar, but nectar and poison, both of them came. So poison could destroy the whole universe. And nectar could bestow eternal life if nectar could be taken, could be consumed by anyone. So Shudha has come. Is Shudha like a nectar to the fading life of Amol? But Shudha has to go. She is so busy. She will go away because she has to pluck flowers. Then again, plucking flower is very symbolic. Flower means beauty. Beauty means truth. So beauty and truth. Shudha perhaps stands for both beauty and truth. Amol entreats Shudha. Shudha, you're going away, but will you remember me? Want to come back to me? And Shudha assures, yes, I shall come back. And she does come back, but then Amol is sleeping. Shudha keeps a bunch of flower for Amol. Tell him when he wakes up that Shudha did not forget, that Shudha did come, that Shudha kept this bunch of flower for him. So Shudha, or eternity, comes with the prospect of beauty and truth. But now Amol is sleeping. Will he wake up from the sleep? We do not know. One critic has raised a question. If Amol dies, then what was the necessity of bringing the king's herald, the king's physician, the king himself? The king himself, of course, doesn't come, but perhaps he will be coming. Such a news, such an information is given in the play. So, what was the necessity of bringing these things if Amol ultimately dies? I think this question is meaningless, because such a play cannot be analyzed by the parameters of logic and reasoning. In fact, life itself does not move, does not go by the parameters of logic. Logic may be there, logic is there, but something else is there. And what is this something else? That is the thing that we are trying to explore. Amol wanted to be a postman. He did not have any great ambition in life. He just wanted to be a postman, a man who would take a letter and give it to the proper man. Information. Because, we must convey what we have to say to others. Without this, there will be absolute silence. So, this information, this dialogue, we very often say, on other occasions we say that we must open our dialogues. Because if we can open our dialogues, maybe many problems will be resolved. So, information, giving information, receiving information, all these are very necessary. Information in the real sense of the term. Amol, Amol is the symbol of innocence. It is said that innocence can never stay perpetually. In this vitiated world, in this polluted world, in this violent, jealous, and mean world, innocence cannot live. I do not know whether this is true or false, but innocence must live, or at least we should try to find innocence. Maybe not in its entirety, but innocence to some extent. So Amol is also a dream for all of us, for every man, because we know that without this innocence, quote unquote innocence, without this purity, the existence cannot run. The existence will be destroyed. So Amol is perhaps the life force of the universe. And Amol must live. We cannot allow Amol to sleep. Because if Amol sleeps, then our humanity will sleep. And who is Amol? Amol and Shudha, meaning life and beauty, are intimately related to each other. So Shudha has come, but Amol is sleeping, but Amol must get up. No, well. There is a question: should we take this play, Tagore or the Post Office, as a tragedy? Well, we do not know whether our great Tagore wanted to make it a tragedy. No, perhaps no. He did not want to make it a tragedy, and therefore he leaves the ending of the play so open. Because if there is tragedy, if Amol really is shown to have died, perhaps the hopes will die. Well, well, even at the fag end of his life, Tagore was speaking of hope. The well, in a poem, very poignant poem, because the Second World War had already started in 1939, and in a poignant poem, Tagore wrote, "The vicious and poisonous snakes are awake, but well, although at this time words of peace will sound meaningless, but we must not lose faith, because well, finally perhaps peace will come." T.S. Eliot's great poem, The Wasteland, ends with similar words: Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace. So, well, if we really want to have peace, if we really want to search for peace in life, we must have Amol. Well, there is a great necessity to revive Amol, to awaken him from sleep. And Amal, along with Shudha, can perhaps bring peace, beauty, and truth in an otherwise corrupted and vitiated world. Thank you very much. In my next class, I shall be talking on some of the characters of the Post Office.